Alright, let's do it. Earth Defense Force 6 review, monoxide poisoning. That's what happens to me every stream, man. Alright, 3, 2, 1, boom.
Hey, people.
Hello!
Seth here. I did my part. We all did our part. But it wasn't enough. It's been 3 years since we killed God, and we're still no closer to reclaiming our world. The
I don't know what it is, but I really love this aesthetic,
aliens
man.
may be gone, but the monsters they've left behind have made life all
Maybe I'm just biased because I was a kid when I played this kind of stuff. Like, this kind of game.
but impossible. The world is ruled by monsters. At this
Kill the
point,
French
maybe
people!
we are the invaders, and they are the EDF now. Wait, what? What?
What?
What?
What? What?
The Earth Defense Force 6 begins now. This game has finally been released outside of the theocratic dictatorship known as Japan, where the
Yeah,
personal
fuck
computer is a
Japan.
heretical relic, and releasing a good PC port is considered apostasy.
Yeah.
Luckily, the developers aren't getting excommunicated, as this game, which is about 80% EDF5 by volume, somehow has a worse PC port. And despite not being an Epic exclusive, this game uses Epic online services for its multiplayer. Ah yes,
Man. What the fuck are we doing, man?
let me just sign in with my Lego account. You can't turn this off. And
Lego
every time you get an achievement, it locks your controls and you die. We are so back to the past, because that's where we're going. Now, you'd think the phrase EDF plus time travel would be a good tone indicator for this experience, but you'd be wrong. Watching this game unfold is like giving a 20 to your local tweaker. After the gas station dick pills and 2 hits of Bang Energy kick in, it's impossible to predict his next move. And yet, it's strangely captivating to watch him wrestle an officer while urinating with a full erection. Speaking of
Oh
which,
my God.
our sponsor. I need money for fentanyl. Hey gang, do you want to know why we're dealing with this invasion? Because someone, you specifically, forgot to install ExpressVPN. That's right, Earth Defense Force is a metaphor
use a
for what
VPN.
happens when you browse the net without a
VPN these nuts
VPN.
in
Like
your
ants
mouth.
to a picnic, your unsecured connection attracts all manner of
Chat, we're
unsavory
watching that. We
characters,
got
from
a
your
fun
ISP
stuff, man.
to
Come
scummy
on.
data brokers and government glowies.
We
Who
need
knows
it.
what they want or what they'll do when they get it? If you're
I fucking knew it! Seth is a fucking hollow live enjoyer!
lucky, they'll just sell off
Oh
your
my
data to the highest
God!
bidder and turn your life into a living
knew
hell of
it.
targeted
Yeah.
advertising. If you're unlucky, they'll establish a detailed record of every illicit detail of your personal life and use it against you to ruin your life. That's right, you'll be forced to resort to making TikTok slop content just to get by. Thankfully,
True.
ExpressVPN
That's
stops
terrible.
all this and more by
That's a fate worse than death, chat. Keep that in mind.
routing all of your internet traffic through a secure
not a
encrypted
mod.
tunnel, allowing you to browse the internet anonymously, securely, and privately.
That's not a
Use it to stay
mod.
safe anywhere, even
That's
on
amazing.
unsecured public Wi-Fi. Now that's what I call a picnic. Personally, I use ExpressVPN to protect myself from my own landlord. At the moment, I have him fooled. He thinks I can barely make rent, but as the owner of my Wi-Fi network, he can see everything I do. If he sees what I purchase online, he'll jack up my rent. But with ExpressVPN, Wi-Fi owners can't see what you're up to on their network, making total privacy just one click away. Now, I can go about my normal business and
What the fuck, man? What?
occasionally turn it off to
What?
Google things like what to do if very poor, how to make money for rent, and is it healthy to eat cement, just to throw him off
It's
a trail.
very healthy,
ExpressVPN
Chad.
is consistently rated the #1 VPN by CNET, The Verge, and tons of other tech reviewers. And unlike me, they actually have a
Wow.
reputation. Find out how you can get 3 months of ExpressVPN for free by scanning the QR code on screen, clicking the link in the description box below, or by going to expressvpn.com/Seth. Earth Defense Force 6 innovates on the EDF format of reusing 90% of the last game by having you time travel back to literal copy-pasted EDF5 missions.
Classic.
The entire intro is a highlight reel of brain rot from the previous title.
In these 5 months, humanity has lost 30% of its population.
30%.
Damn.
That's still not too bad.
I was about to say, that's not enough. Should have been 50.
And since my mind has blocked out all EDF-related memories as a trauma response, it still hits just as hard.
What a chaos!
From a premise, you'd think we'd bring back some kind of super weapon
They're
or
injecting
strategy, but
COVID into their
remember, this is
balls.
a universe where everyone eats glue, including the aliens. What we've brought back is far more valuable. Advice. Advice, such as shoot the glowing weak point. In the original timeline, this took the EDF months to figure out. Your guidance helps a little, but the aliens are sending new enemies back in time as well. We're playing a game of quantum chess, but every player is retarded. So... What's new? Not much. Welcome to EDF. You get one new mechanic and quality of life features which should have been there from the start, like these new damage numbers. So now I can see I'm doing exactly 1 damage. The Ranger can now turn while sprinting.
It's just like,
this
wow,
took
man.
years of programming. Everyone gets a new backpack weapon slot, so now you can actually use all the stupid shit that would have otherwise cost you an entire slot. Backpack weapons also reload passively, so now you
That's
don't
a
have to
lot of
hold it out for a
damage.
real-life minute to reload your turrets. This entire series is built on breaking you down, to the point where I'm giving praise each time something gets marginally better. Wing Diver gets an infinite durability, spammable
Nice.
shield that blocks everything.
that.
Its intended
That's a good
purpose is
game.
to survive attacks and get some breathing room. Its actual purpose is to grief your
I don't know what he
teammates.
said,
Playing
but yeah.
Air Raider causes a unique form of brain damage, where all of your dopamine pathways remap to prioritize Big Bomb at the cost of self-preservation. EDF 5 tried to fix this by adding more limpet guns and a third weapon slot. EDF 6 has given up completely. Now you have an
Try to play
entirely
this
new
game if
category
you
of
have a
drone
seizure
strikes which can work
problem.
underground, or in a timeline where all of your artillery crews are dead. An offender gets literally nothing. He's exactly the same. Just like 5, he goes from broke to broken, from garbage can to Gundam that can solo the entire game.
Gundam!
EDF's enemy designs take from the late Confucian philosophy of CBT maximalism, which falls into one of the following categories: instant death,
Dude, that's sick. It turns him into a gun.
shotgun, instantaneous corporeal relocation. I can't see what the fuck is going on. I'm having an epileptic seizure. And the rarest category of all, actually good. If they have a gimmick, EDF will make damn sure you know about it.
These aliens are armored! They're fully protected, clad in armor, head to toe.
Damn.
Covered in armor. Where do we even aim?
These enemies have new gear. There
Dude, this is so cool.
are just a few heavily armored aliens.
For example, the flying drones have a unique mechanic, the rules of which are described to you in excruciating
Too long,
detail.
didn't
And what is
read.
it? When you shoot an enemy, they get mad. One of the simplest game mechanics that anyone, no matter how much their mother drank during pregnancy, can figure out on their own. In any
Yeah.
other game, you would not need to drill this into the player, but this is EDF. I've spent the last 15 hours inhaling nitrous and holding left click. I'm grateful for this reminder, because with zero explanation, a new red drone shows up. And if you aggro more than one at a time, you're already dead. That's supposed to be a decoy. In EDF 5, they were useless because they had no health. In EDF 6, they're useless
It's Gora!
because the aliens won't fucking shoot at them. EDF's
Oh my
network
God,
of radio
it's
gaslighters
amazing.
will keep you stocked up on genuinely dogshit advice. At one point, android suicide bombers show up and you're told to run away,
Booba.
hold your ground, shoot the bombs, don't shoot the bombs, and link up with Charlie. Charlie is the key to all this. A terrifying new enemy. However, are we going to hold shift?
Are those
Their
so-
weakness is the shift key.
Are those suicide bombers?
Surprisingly, most of the new designs aren't terrible. Androids shoot their hands, which is a physical projectile that can be shot out of the air. The new drones have weak spots and dodgeable attacks. The cruel are actually interesting. They can block attacks with their energy shield until it overheats.
Dude,
In the
Japan
game's
is
own
not real,
words,
man.
the black ones don't work. It's genuinely fun, combining different gear and strategy
How many drugs do you have to be on to make this game, man?
to get past their shields. And then you play a
Seth
mission with a
likes
rolling
it.
pillbugs, and all that praise goes out the window. I need to make one thing very clear.
Beating his
Cheat engine
ass.
is no longer optional. I complained about the drop system in 5, but now it's worse than I could have possibly imagined.
my
Let me give you a quick
God.
rundown. Enemies drop armor and weapon crates. Armor crates permanently increase max HP by 1. Weapon crates are gacha tokens that give 1 spin of the
Okay,
end of
yeah.
mission reward wheel. These weapons come from a genuinely schizophrenic loot table based on mission number and difficulty, with a bias towards whatever class you're playing. Getting duplicates levels up the star statistic. This is not a small bonus. It brings the weapon from borderline useless to borderline griefing.
Okay,
If you're operating
yeah.
under the reasonable assumption that difficulty options are purely a matter of taste, EDF will punish you. If you play the entire game on normal, you'll encounter only 25% of all items. If you want
That's fucked,
a smooth
dude.
progression through all of the weapons, playing missions at the developer intended armor and weapon levels, you'll have to play the entire game, and I'm not making this up,
I was about to say, if you play it on normal, you must have to play it like 10 times over.
16 times. Every single mission, on every single class, on normal, hard, hardest, and inferno difficulties. Or, you can use Cheat Engine to multiply the drops by several thousand, and play on
Base.
hard so you only miss half a drop table. And if you're worried about cheating diluting your experience, it won't. Every mission has a hard limit on max health and weapon level. This isn't just a polite suggestion. I'm asking you to cut out 60 hours of grind, so you can find out it makes no difference because you get one shot anyway.
And you motherfuckers are gonna complain about fucking bugs in Skyrim. Yeah, just play the game 16 times to like make it actually playable.
This game was insane, but it doesn't
guys are
truly become clear
pussies.
until you shoot at the time machine again. You know you're in for a treat when you see the words, "The Earth Defense Force 7 begins now." This is where you realize we're not using time travel to stop ourselves from eating glue. This is a race through time to see who can eat the most glue,
That fucking
us or the
dinosaur? Holy
aliens.
shit.
And right now, they're winning because they can send new enemies back in time, but we can only bring our memories back to our bodies in the past. The scientist who travels back with you tries to make use of this, but each time he does, the EDF sends him to the psychiatric ward. He's looped so many times, he's memorized the game's dialogue. I mean, I don't actually know how many times he's looped. He just said he lost count, but the EDF's greatest weakness is numbers, so that's not saying much. When he gets locked up, the title of smartest man in the EDF goes to Steve, the only man who can count all the way up to 10.
Yeah, and it's number 9. The 9th one out of 10.
Truly, our brightest mind.
Very high IQ individual for sure.
I'd kill for a meal. I'd even eat a monster at this point.
People smarter than us have already tried.
I believe them, because this is a post-No Child Left Behind universe. EDF has a very particular way of introducing new enemies. First, you'll do a normal mission with normal dialogue.
Okay.
Then, near the end, the NPCs will randomly bring up something you've never heard before, like,
I would have never believed that demons would rule over the surface 3 years ago.
you're left wondering, is that a metaphor? Then, you go to the next mission and... Oh shit, they weren't kidding. That Cruel is
Definitely a Japanese game.
getting prime toppy. This situation is so hopeless that many in the EDF are seeking God. Not in a religious sense, they are physically looking for God. The possibility of his existence gives the EDF hope. Not hope that he'll save us, but hope that we can beat him to death ourselves. However, that's not going to work this time, so we really need to figure out how to use this whole time travel thing to our advantage. The Earth Defense Force 8 begins now. This time, the scientist managed to avoid the insane asylum, and uses his time traveler knowledge to invent newer and better weapons for the EDF. And then, he gives us the plot twist. The aliens
That's why you have to play the game 16 times, man. This makes sense.
aren't from another planet. They're from
Oh.
Earth, but millions of years into the future. They're not teleporting in monsters that look like giant ants. They're sending the result of millions of years of ant evolution back in time. These aliens evolved from an Earth where mankind is extinct and the world is ruled by monsters. When they asked, are we alone in this universe? They discovered the ruins of human civilization and went back in time to check us out. When they descended in their egg-shaped ships, early humans mythologized them as gods. However, one of them said, imagine drunk driving one of these, and did exactly that. After finding the ship, humanity realized, oh shit, there's aliens,
the
and
thing?
formed the Earth Defense Force. If the EDF exists, the world will never be ruled by monsters, and the aliens will never evolve. That single drunk driving incident just time paradoxed the aliens, but they have one last
Oh my
option to stop
God.
themselves from getting blipped. They evolve from a world where humanity is extinct, so they just need to make us extinct. Now, you may be thinking,
dragon,
why not just
dude?
go back and turn Grug and Grunga into paste? Because that would cause another time paradox. If they solve the problem too early, then they never needed to solve the problem, and will never solve the problem. That's why they invade at the start of EDF 5. It's just after the formation of the EDF
Man, I hate time travel paradox bullshit fucking movies and shit. This is too much, man.
So there's still a reason to go back and invade. All of this
My head
means
actually
we
kinda
have a
hurts.
chance. We just have to do well in one loop, and we can time paradox the aliens out of existence for good. This time, we do so well against the aliens that instead of emerging from a bunker into a war zone, you're greeted by an army of advanced soldiers, living in a high-tech utopian Wakanda.
Damn.
Then you blow it all up, but despite your efforts, the aliens are still one step ahead. Every loop, they send their evolved ships
steps
back into
ahead.
the ring. Turns out, these ships carry a log of everything we did during the war, and they go back in time and use that to retroactively win the war. They've been doing this the entire time, but out of everything in this fucking game, they are being subtle about it. At the start of the game, a ring ship appears. Then, in the next mission, everything is destroyed. They didn't just move quickly, they went back and changed the timeline. We can only go back in time by shooting at the ring at a specific time, but if the
I'm
aliens
not
time
high
travel
enough for
before
this
then,
chat,
they
I'm
can
not gonna lie.
retroactively change the current timeline, from one where we have 10 billion civilians to one where we have 500 civilians because of EDF's
Holy
time
shit.
travel rules. Every mission takes place in its own temporal pocket dimension. Any attempts to change the timeline
What? Is that a Kristen Weston Chandler comic of Sonichu? With
past or
Yakub?
future will
Yeah,
get queued,
with
and all the
Yakub.
queued actions resolve when the mission ends. If we're in mission 50 and you send me back
It
in
was
time to
Kang's, I
introduce your
guess.
father to competitive League of Legends, you can watch me leave and you'll be perfectly fine. Then, on mission 51, you no longer exist because you never existed. Who are you? So,
I don't
when the mission
know
ends, the evolved ship's
anymore.
going back in time gets resolved, and in the next mission, you're fucked. The scientist couldn't care less, though. He's got bigger issues at the moment.
Base.
My ulcer again.
In order to win, we have to do so well in one loop that we can assault the time machine before the evolved ships can go back in time. We're done playing around. It's time to win this thing. The Earth Defense Force 9 begins now.
No
Now, we've gone all the way back to the very beginning of EDF 5. This is the payoff for everything we've had to put up with. From the very start, the EDF has giant mechs
Ooh,
called
the big
Bragas
Gundam.
lying around. Why don't they use them? Because they're construction cranes. The EDF doesn't even think to use them as weapons until months later. But this time, you snuck your weapon through
I'm sorry, I just had to take in the fact that there's a Gundam fighting a Godzilla. Like a Godzilla-esque. Like I just had to take it in for a
the
second.
metal detector, so
I'm
you can
kinda
save
speechless.
one
I'm getting
guy that
stomach.
dies
I'm not
during the
gonna lie.
tutorial. Turns out, this was the single most important person in the fucking universe. The linchpin that turns the tide of the entire war. This one guy
he
is the only
yelling?
person who knows the code for the Braga elevator. In EDF 5, the base gets wiped and they have to fish out the Bragas from the rubble. But this time, they drop the anchors and you hold the line, punching them to death and
Damn,
saving
that's
the base
cool.
from annihilation. Every
Yeah.
mission in this timeline corrects all of your mistakes. These guys got squished by a
Praise the
pylon, but
sunshine.
now we can block their convoy so they don't.
Tea.
When the dropships appear in EDF 5, you're not allowed to kill them because nobody has ever tried shooting the glowing weak point. But now, as a civilian, you start blasting them out of the sky and get immediately conscripted.
I found a safe place! Behind them!
When Godzilla shows up, you waste no time and immediately bring out the Braga to kick his ass. In fact,
Win
this
the
timeline
fucking
goes so
dome.
well that the EDF has developed their ultimate weapon, Braga with a gun.
Oh, finally.
Loss ratio at 50%.
That's cool, man.
The aliens are throwing everything they have at us. It's time for us to use our own
Dude,
trump
that's
card.
sick, dude.
Another Braga.
Cannot continue fighting.
This is basically the perfect timeline for us, but the aliens still managed to send the evolved ships
should,
back. If we want
you
to
should
win,
gritty-
we
hit
need
it
our
gritty on
own
'em.
ace in the hole. Luckily, the scientist has one. The EDF's ultimate secret weapon. Coincidence. That's right. Random chance. The aliens have a finite number of evolved ships across every time loop. If 10 go
Okay.
back and we destroy one, then they can only send 9 back in the next loop. So,
Okay.
all we have to do is time loop infinitely and eventually kill every single evolved ship, stopping them from going back in time and wiping our progress, and actually allowing us to
Okay.
gain the upper hand. To communicate this, EDF did the last thing I expected. It got meta. To go back in time and kill the evolved ships, you have to physically go back for your mission select screen. These include the only mission that takes place at night. They can reuse their entire game 3 times, but darkness? Whoa, That's way too disruptive. We can only do that once. After that, you're finally ready to assault the ring. You gather the EDF's finest and attack. Then, they all die and tell you to run away. Great work, guys. You shoot the ring and it goes horizontal, opening its portal to rain enemies. It's revealed that you're not just fighting one group of aliens from one point in the future. You're fighting all aliens from every point in the future.
What am I looking at? Is that Jeremy Fragrance Trump? I don't even know. What is this, man?
Future. They're throwing everything they have at you, but nothing is more effective than the ring because it stuns the player in real life. Then, the final boss.
A green pepper.
Officially our enemy. All units, initiate attack.
Of course, everything in EDF is big, but this thing is legitimately too big. It flies outside the skybox, attacks by turning an entire city block blue, and outruns all of your attacks. When you blow its head off, the front opens up and is revealed to be Mega God. What the fuck has happened? The time travel rules have either been making sense or the oxygen deprivation has finally gotten to me. Allow me to explain what's actually going on. We are currently in a time duel to determine who gets time paradoxed out of existence, humanity or the aliens. The aliens caused the time paradox with that little ship crash, and we caused the time paradox by launching a dirty bomb at Mars to prevent the Cruel from evolving. Now time itself has chosen us as humanity's champion and Giga God as the aliens champion. Whoever loses this fight gets their entire species time paradoxed out of existence. I'll reiterate, time is a sapient entity which manually resolves paradoxes by handpicking contestants for a deathmatch. This is no longer humanity versus aliens. This is 4 retards versus God's final form.
He's getting paradoxed out, chat.
We did it.
Remember, aliens, you're no match for the...
Hold on. Bosnian.
Remember, aliens.
Sorry, sir, but this is real life. The Bosniak gets the girl. We're getting Balkan memes in the EDF, man.
You're no match for the indomitable human spirit. I've met men who could goon for 36 hours straight. I've met stronger men who could flicker goon for 7 seconds.
What the hell is what? Flicker gooning? Excuse me?
Humanity always has and always will overcome adversity because we have something you don't. Stupidity. And you get... Nothing. No ending. Goodbye.
True.
Thank you for the 60 bucks. Earth Defense Force
$60
is a lobotomizing experience where every single design choice is intentionally wrong. It's a sacrificial altar where you trade neurons for dopamine, coded by Emperor Hirohito himself. The weapon descriptions are lies. The dialogue is primordial brain rot.
We can't. The enemies are right in front of us.
I am the Manchurian Candidate. My MK Ultra activation phrase could be any line of dialogue from this game.
God, I hope it's not mating season.
But I'm not complaining. Coming from a race of people with a history of being fried in DiGiorno easy bake ovens, parting with $60 was a difficult decision, but it was worth it. This is a series made by the same 5 guys for the past 20 years, and I'm cheering them on. Nonsense is an antidote in a world where nothing makes sense.
Look, I'm gonna say it. If it has an audience, God bless. Keep doing what you want to do, man.
And there's value in something that transcends reason. This is a product of unintelligent design. And I love it. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. A warm thanks to the many members of the Merchants Guild generously funding and bankrolling these videos. You're all truly wonderful. Have a good one.
Wonderful! My brain actually kind of hurts. I'm not even joking. I think I have a headache. I actually think I have water and I have a headache from watching that. That was great.